Across towns and townships in South Africa, communities are feeling the heavy impact of drug abuse and trafficking, and this is a crisis touching families, schools and local businesses. Residents speak of rising fear, lost opportunities and the ongoing battle just to keep their streets safe as drugs continue to take a toll. So as part of our special focus on crime today, SABC News anchor Ayanda Nyathi is reporting from Letlhakeng in Evaton. So Ayanda, myself as well as our viewers, I'm sure, are still reeling from some of the conversations that you've had throughout the course of the morning. So talk to us about where you're stationed now and what conversations you're having there.
Well, Nglusi, you're absolutely right. It's one thing to hear about the crime stats. We're told that up to 15% in some instances of young people who are still in school find themselves using one substance or the other. But it's another to be in these dusty streets and to interact with the people who see firsthand the real impact of drug abuse. Earlier in the show, we had heard from Fanima Semola, the National Police Commissioner, speaking about how the destruction of drugs worth millions of rand in Pretoria is not just a symbolic step, but it's a sure sign, he says, of their efforts to try to clamp down on drug abuse. But residents here tell a very different story of how those who have found themselves hooked on these substances are absolutely left to their own devices, and in some instances are aided by those who are profiting off of their addiction. So we're currently standing near one of the scrapyard areas, and we're told that in this community, many of the individuals who are trying to turn the tide run to this area in order to try and at least put their lives together. What they do is that they contribute to the recycling efforts in this township by bringing all manner of metals and other particular materials, that's the word I'm looking for, in an effort, of course, to try eke out a living and, as I mentioned, gain some kind of independence that will hopefully move them away from the substance abuse. We'll speak to the man running the operation in just a while, but since we've been here, we've been aided through some of the help of some of the community patrollers who are here, and I want to bring one of them in, Mayor Puseletso Makalimela, who's been with us throughout the course of the morning, and it's been quite the morning since we've been here, Mayor Puseletso, but we are hoping about the challenges as a community patroller gona mo Evaton. Le thomile ning initiative le gore le batlo katela this community yourselves?
Okay, ndatoka since utlwa ke show 2009 ntse re patrolla ka mo ka Evaton, so re na le challenge ya di drugs, bana ba rona ba fela ke di drugs ka ga area ya rona, so re zanne magetlo isa bana di rehab, but social development dia ho araba bana ba tletse di form several times, so ha ba la dul ba bang ba qetella ba hlokahetse hona ka mane hospital ya bona Letlhakeng, ba hlokahalla ka mo community ya thujelwa di ntho tse ngata tsa community di tholwa ka mo dikolo tsa rona di a tshwatlelwa, bana ba rona ba na electricity dikolong ka baka la bana ba tswang di drugs, because ha sna tšhelete go reka di drugs lo tshwatlela community ka dikolo tsa rona, so no dikolo tsa rona di a sufferya ka baka la go hloka motlakase ka baka la di drugs.
Thuso maponiseng like rea kapa le bona ba dikene
maponiseng thuso ga e thola haholo ka ska last time no tshwatlwe sekolong sa ka Botlhahadi primary school ko di thapo kaofela, maponisa khone o react ka nako a fitla ka nako.
Okay, a re bue ka scrapyard mo geleng teng se thusa jwang sona?
Mr. Colter dilemo tsa ntse fitileng ha qeta o bula scrapyard se la khona nka bana banana abanka ba hira ka mo ka scrapyard, and then ba bang ha ba sa utswetsa community, ha ba sa community ba ilo thuba, ba bang ba teng ke ba bang ba ntse ba tshwata sekolong, so ha ba sa tshwatla dikolong, and then le community ha ba sa tshwatla because ba se ba sebetsa mona, so na le itse ba fang yona jalo ka mga scrapyard. And then hona le ba bang ba se ba tloletse tsuba di drugs ka ska di survivors ba teng ka mo ka scrapyard le bona.
Re kana ka mo gare just to see gore what are they busy with? Maybe we're going to try go inside as I also loosely translate what Mayor Puseletso has been saying, and it's really echoing the sentiments that we've heard over the last couple of hours, that drug abuse is really what's bringing this community to its knees. But we're showing you now some of the miscellaneous items, really, that many of those who are trying to turn the tide have brought into this particular scrapyard, and you can see some of them are still busy at it. And I must be honest and apologize in advance. It's difficult to take in the air here. You can imagine all manner of things are being brought in. And naturally, sometimes the ventilation isn't the greatest. There's a gentleman here who I understand runs this particular scrapyard. I'm going to try to speak to him very quickly as he also continues with this work. And go bo re tlhalosetse gore mo scrapyard ke mmereko mo feng a ba o etsang keng di challenges tse le wena o na leng tsona.
Most scrapyard re topa different materials e ba ikreang ko di dumping sites mo area ya rona as a broader community. So what we do, it's they bring all the kinds of material e ba itlisa mona, then we sort it out re ba thuse and give them a certain payment e ba beya mo scaling. They go per weight and per kilos, di faraga di prices. So and babang ba tembona, we give them work. Some of them we give them work to sustain their livelihood, like dijo, their basic some of them they don't have even food, but we try our best. We can see bona ba too addicted to the drugs. And then we bring them back into the real community. So in trouble so that it's what we take, it's a lot of plastics and a lot of boxes like K4, some Tetra packs it's in. So that our environment is so distracted by pollution and so forth. We give them cash for that, and then the in different portions.
And what's the kind of support you're getting from the community itself? Because I know sometimes there's a fear that that is the cash they use to continue feeding that addiction.
Yeah, what we do, it's a rubber mentor. We mentor them. Some of them we train them to not to go back into that lifestyle at the community, but to come back and show them what we can take, like plastics. Forget about the infrastructure. It's a thing, the community water taps and so forth. So what we do, we bring them together and ask for support, like this the supported rehabilitation to come and help us to sort the issue. That's what we do, and give them work or baba tole mona inside mona into a scrapyard.
The money they make, I imagine, helps, but is sometimes just not enough. I mean, how do you deal with, I'm sure, the challenges of paying them instantly? Because let's face it, the need here is vast and is so wide and is so urgent.
Yeah, what we do, we give them food, for that matter, so that when we do some payment, the ones that we are opted to work with us here, we give them like a weekly payment. What we do, we give them food, and some of them will ask for cigarettes and so stuff. Then we'll give a little bit of cash, or this drug, the cost of drugs. So we win them part of them. In most instances, they go astray, like Baba relapse and so on. But we pull them back again, and they come, and we have won this there and there. Yeah, that's the achievement that we have done here.
Thank you very much. Can I just get your name and surname?
This is Mr. Martin Machalmelesi, Martin. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So there you have it. Just some of the, I suppose, innovations, there's no other way I can put it, to try and assist this particular community. And it's not a conventional innovation, isn't it? A scrapyard to try resolve a drug crisis in this community. And I'll be very honest with you, when I arrived before the sun was out in this particular area and was struggling to kind of find my way, I was told to actually come to the scrapyard because everybody knows it and it's an easy landmark for this particular area. And I suppose, given the conversations we've just had, it's a bit easier to see why that is the case. It's seen as a lifeline in some instances from those who are struggling to recover from the drug use here. So we'll continue to, of course, keep a very close eye on the situation, but the story is not complete without the families that are affected by what's taking place. And throughout the course of our broadcast, we heard from a few parents who are actually willing to speak out and have been waiting for us patiently. So we'll try to bring them in very quickly to get a sense of how they're feeling. Bomme, thanks very much for agreeing to speak to us. We appreciate it, and welcome to the SABC. I know for both of you, you have sons who are still using drugs in this area. How is that affecting you?
Yo, ya re affecta haholo, ya re affecta. Ho bona ngwana hao a shatjwa ke mphakathi every day, a tshwarwa ke maponesa, a robala thuteng, ngwana ka o sile ntlo o robala strateng. So ke ne ke na le ngwana e ke nanang hore o tla bana le future bright, mara now future ya hae e felletse ke di-drugs.
And where do you think things went wrong? I mean, no parent, of course, wants to be in this kind of situation. How ntse o naganela wena gore dilo di thomile neng go senyeha?
Nna dilo di thomile after ntatwa ya hlokahale. A ntse a hola, tseba ebile na o le single parent. A kopana le different neneng ha tsamaya ke go ile bolong ke motho a tsebang bolo haholo. O ile bolong kgante a ntse a tsuba ntwena. Hore ke elelletswe ke mme wa ka ha sa re bona di festere di handle di a fela dithapo ka tlung a tsana dithapo a tsana next, and e affecta le bana ba banyenyana ba ntse ba hola ba tlang ka morae. And then kana go umtswadi o understand ke ngwana hao o tseba ho bua le yena mara mphakati ha o khone hobane batho bana ba iketse drug ena na ha so ke drug ntwena na ke le timona le keneng ka bana ba tsubang ba kula ha ba iketse ba kula. So ntwe e re hlokang re le batswadi re hloka ntwe e leng hore fela re thuswe ho fuwe Mercy Angel lengolo le la rezone di office tse kgolo mane ha ba ke ba bule mamati ba bulele Mercy Angel hobane Mercy Angel re le batswadi ra tshepa hore e tlo re thusa ena le dintho tse ngata tse tshepisitseng bana ba rona ena le di skills gore ena le dintho tse reng di riepe tse ding ha di tshwane le Mercy Angel ha di na tsona ngwana ka o tswa rehab ha ke bu o tswile rehab 2 days after 3 days ke ha khutlela hape 4 weeks. So o tlo di 4 weeks tsena ha khutla o khutela kae man strateng hape ha ona skills se se etsang ha ona nix se etsang o dutse ka tlung tlamele ke tse ke mokate ona jwala ha qala potela tlamele ke potele le yena ha qala etsang ke tse se re tshaba lo beya di chelete di ing udima ditafo. So re a kopa dintho tsa rona di fella di scrapyard nna ntwa ka gore ke le kopokopa batho ba maka.
Sure. Maponesa le thusa mama ko community gona mo?
Hai nna fonna a ke so thole thuso bana ngwana ka o sa tshwere hangata sa etsa nix. Ba a tsama strateng fela ba mosearch ba thole nthonyana ya itsubang e yena e rekileng ga tlo itsuba a lokwallwa 5 days. Ha ke so bone thuso ba nthusang yona ba tshwara bana ba tsubang ba tloela batho ba rekisang di drugs. So nna ke so bone thuso maponesa fonna a ke so bone thuso ha ba so nthusi ka nix.
Right. Thank you very much, Momet. We really appreciate it. So there you have it. Word from at least 2 distraught mothers. And let me tell you, it's 2 of many, many here. In fact, as we've been waiting to speak to you, we've had countless people come up to us wanting to also have a word about just how heavy the burden of crimes related to crimes related to drugs, I beg your pardon, is in this particular community. And what is obvious to many of us is that there are so many other communities like what we've seen here at Evaton. Hopefully, the story simply doesn't end here. But earlier I mentioned to you about how there was a major destruction of drugs that took place in Pretoria earlier on today. It was led by National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola, who's given an assurance that they're working hard to make sure that they rid communities of these kinds of substances. Take a listen.
Most of the places in our townships, in towns, in villages, there are quite a number of drugs that have been sold there. Some of these drugs might not necessarily be those that are well known, your Mendrex and whatever, but it will be your Nyaupes and so on, which some of the precursors for those are easily things you can find at home because they mix quite a lot of things. So one doesn't want to get in there because we'll be teaching others on how to do it. So it's precursors that normally they are not illegal stuff if you find. For example, one of the precursors for the methacologne and whatever get imported, it can be used for good cause, but well, if it mixed with other things, then it end up making drugs. So drug is the problem for the country. Yes, we need to fight this fight together with the community to make sure that we deal mostly with the syndicates, which I think for now we are on the right track in terms of not necessarily dealing with the person on the street who's having 5 tablets of Mandrax in the pocket, but we are slowly getting to those that are manufacturing, those that are distributing, to where we are getting to the cartels, and if we deal with that, we would have dealt with the whole problem, because dealing with those that have 3 tablets, it will not assist us, because they'll just always find another one on the street to go and sell for him or her.
So there you have it, Fanima Semola, the police commissioner, saying that they want to work with communities to try and wage this fight against drug abuse. I'll tell you what, the community of Evaton is standing ever ready as soon as police are to try put an end to this completely dilapidating issue. We'll continue keeping a close eye on the story and so many others, of course, here in Evaton, as well as the rest of the country, as we continue with our special focus on crime on the SABC News Channel.